And hello, everyone, and welcome into Insider Gaming Weekly, a video game podcast. It is Thursday, June 12th, 2025. It's later than normal. We're starting because Google had to go and have a fire. I am, of course, Mike Straw, one of the senior editors here at Insider Gaming, joined as always by co-senior editor Grant Taylor Hill, our senior producer, A to the P, Albert Perkins, and the Gong Lord himself, editor-in-chief Tom Henderson. Fellas, it's been a busy, tiring travel week, but we're all back and getting back to normal. How's everybody feeling?
Yeah, man, not too bad. The 24 hours of flying in the space of 5 days really wasn't that bad in the end. I think I handled it like a champ.
Oh, that's what's up, Grant. What did you think of your first trip to the United States, my friend?
Oh man, it was an eye-opener. Cultural shock. No, I genuinely I went in and I think on the first day I said I wasn't very overwhelmed. I felt like I was like, oh, this is just like any other city. But by the time it came time to leave and I'd soaked it up, I'd had some of the fast food options on offer and seen a bit of the city. And I went down to Santa Monica, up to the observatory. Just, I think then I was like, okay, yeah, this is some next level shit. I was genuinely enthralled. I didn't want to leave when it came time to leave. I was like, I want to see more of this city. I'll definitely be back.
Man. Nice.
Definitely be back.
How about you, Tom? How you feeling, Mr. 16 hours sleep?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I was awake for 36 hours straight on the way back. So I just cannot sleep on planes. I don't know what it is. I even took 10 milligrams of melatonin.
Oh,
it had no effect on the plane. I think I closed my eyes for 15 minutes and then I got restless leg syndrome and I just couldn't sleep. But got back, landed, 16 hours of sleep. No, I'm all good, fine, and ready to keep on rocking and rolling. But yeah, Summer Games Fest, interesting event, very cool event.
And before we get into all of that, it is a streamlined show. We are talking all about Summer Games Fest, Play Days, Xbox, and our time in LA. You can subscribe to Insider Gaming Weekly wherever you get your favorite shows. If you're watching us on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. The more likes, the more people see these shows on any platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Be sure to leave a rating because it helps us grow. Leave your questions in the chat. We will get to as many of them as we possibly can in this show. Because like I said, we usually start at 4 Eastern, but today it was around 4:40 or 4:35 because Google decided to go outrage. A quick plug also on insider-gaming.com. You can check out our reviews for The Alters, the greatest review ever written for Console Wars, written with my experience where it took me being bullied and mocked by Phil Spencer. He didn't really mock me. He just, felt bad for me and literally said, maybe you should let him win as if to give pity on me. That woke up a console warrior who then went on a small winning streak before he was put back in his place. Go check that review out as well. Also, great content previews from Dying Light the Beast, from Grant, an interview with the people from Techland as well. Interview with the creative director, I believe it is, from Fallout 76. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Grant.
Yep, creative director and lead producer.
All of that. I have a preview coming out tomorrow for Lego Party, which was my game of the show we'll talk about momentarily. And so much more coming. And this is just the beginning of what we have planned. We have a team of 15 people going to Gamescom, it seems. We're all gonna be wearing purple shirts. We're gonna look like a bunch of Barneys, and it's gonna be great. And if you manage to find me, you'll get a USB demo disc that I will bring myself.
Grimace, eat your heart
I'll have
out.
my own. I will have my own USB demo disc that I will talk to somebody, a friend of mine who's making a game. I'm like, let me put your game on this thumb drive.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah. And no one will find me. I'm very inconspicuous. No one finds me. But that's in the future. We're going to talk a bit about the past. Summer Games Fest, Xbox Showcase, and SGF Playdays. We were all out in LA. We all got there around the same time. AP got there a couple hours early and, traveled the city for a little bit.
Yeah, got a little bit up.
We all landed at the same time and pretty much then the next day it was the show. it's weird to structure this because of how things bounced around. But Grant, I'll start with you. What was your big takeaway from the weekend that was gaming?
Oh my God. It has to be when I went in the cab down to Santa Monica and I was in the car being driven by Arnold Schwarzenegger's body double from Terminator 3. I think I put a picture on my socials. You can see it. This guy, he was Austrian. He was driving me. He was built. In the UK, we say he's built like a brick shithouse. That just means he was like massive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Was in the Stick of Truth, Ubisoft, South Park game from years back. He did Arnie. Sorry, he voiced Arnie. And then he was saying that back in the 90s or whatever it was, he was Arnie's body double and voice double and stuff like that in some flicks. So that was pretty cool. But games-wise, I assume you wanted to know about the game side of things, right? Not just the Arnie impersonators. I mean, for me, Dying Like the Beast won the show for me. I knew that was coming, and I was over the moon about it. The release date, they dropped that, and they showed some gameplay. I got to play the game for like half an hour. Sit down with Timon, he's the franchise director at Techland, and he's been there for some years now. And we got some really nice coverage out of that, which is obviously all on Insider Gaming. Some really cool bits and pieces about how they're now viewing the Beast as Dying Light 3 in terms of the scope and the scale of the thing. And then talking about what's coming next for the franchise, all of that's on the site there. But some of the other bits that I really like, Munfish. I don't think anyone expected Munfish to come out with Atomic Heart 2 and the Cube. Atomic Heart, the first game, was really good, looked fantastic, but it was strange. It was marred by a couple of controversies, some of the stuff they decided to include in the game. But the follow-up title looks absolutely incredible. Looks so much more broad. Ill looked really good. The really brutal looking, violent horror game where you shoot things and they react scarily, realistically. I don't even know what that game was about, but it just looked gory and awesome. Mixtape,
you got to kick a baby.
Good. Yeah, that was the best part, right?
You got to no word of a lie. It shows you how twisted we all are as gamers when we were watching this horrific trailer play out. And the collective laughter in the room when the guy violently kicked a baby across the room.
Even the cameraman who was like stationed in front of us. He had put his camera up on the cart for the little break, and he lost it. He'd seen it before.
Yeah,
it was so good. And then
dress rehearsal. Yep.
they showed Mixtape, which was cool because I've just finished Bloom and Rage, and that's really similar. It's in that vein, like a Life is Strange kind of vibe, which is good. Splitgate 2's Battle Royale drop was really good. I think everyone kind of expected it, but that was cool. Yeah, I mean there wasn't as much as I thought that would like wow me. The Summer Game Fest, I think we went into it not expecting a hell of a lot, but it was good. Being in the atmosphere and everything, and seeing the guys on stage from only a few feet away was obviously surreal as it is, especially when Mads Mikkelsen comes walking out and no one expected him to be there and stuff. It was really cool. So, top marks for Jeff and co put on a good show, I think.
AP, what about you?
Yeah, man, for me, Summer Game Fest, I thought it was great. This was my first Summer Game Fest overall. It was nice seeing some familiar faces from in and around the industry as well, of course, all weekend long. Of course, it does stark in comparison to, say, E3, of course. It's about the size of like one hall. If you've ever been to E3, it's about the size of one hall, all of Summer Game Fest, I would say, whenever it comes to the LACC. And then being there in LA last week, seeing the LACC itself, it just kind of made me miss E3, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, at least we have something. I believe if Jeff wouldn't have stepped up and created this event back in 2020 during the pandemic, I don't think we'd have anything at all, at the end of the day. But and then I get that most companies are just doing their own virtual thing now anyways, and but there just seems to be something to having an event like this, like that human interaction from time to time. I feel like that's something good to have. And it doesn't always have to be all the time, as I'm in favor of virtual meetings and such, but I feel that every once in a while, human connection kind of helps keeps things going, camaraderie, that sort of thing. Especially in an industry that's like so delicate as ours been, over the past like 5 years or so, right? With all the layoffs and all that sort of thing, right? So, it was good overall. I look forward to, going to more in the future, and I hope it gets bigger and, and everything. That would be great. As far as games go, you guys saw my preview for Resident Evil Requiem, right?
That
Bro,
was
that's my
Yeah.
that was
bro,
there.
that was there. That was
Can we-
there.
Can we talk about how much they just teased and pulled the midway through the show? They're like, oh, Capcom, they do a thing for RE7 or
Mhm.
RE8. Then they come back like 5 minutes later to be like, oh, we got something more. Here's an update. We need some more time on
Need
the,
more time.
on the next
Yes.
installment of Resident Evil. And then
Got
20
us.
minutes later,
Yeah.
use all that time, great development time.
They foreshadowed it though when he was like, in the blink of an eye, we'll have more for you or whatever. And it literally was, minutes
Yep.
later, they were like, hey, guess what? And the
That
thing is, it
was
was one of those trailers where
freaking
we all
awesome.
watched and we were like,
Mm-hmm.
what is this? And then they show you like one thing, like they show you like the police station, and you're like,
Place
whoa.
went- that was
yeah.
the only time I felt like that place collectively like lost their mind.
There was this
Yeah.
girl that was like seated maybe a few rows behind us. You could hear her just fangirling out, like she knew what it was. Did you hear her when we were sitting there?
Yeah.
I was like, somebody knows what this is, And then it came up. I was like, oh, everyone like went nuts. Like that was an awesome moment. But yeah, for me, that was definitely my game of the show. We should do that next time we go. By the way, give out like game of show
Scream.
and that sort of thing. But
1,000%.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the girl screaming. Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should.
we
were talking about
totally
the
should.
award.
We
We were talking about
totally
award.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should.
Inside
Tom-
a game of the show award. Yeah, give him a little trophy.
Yeah.
absolutely, like a ribbon or something, right? That'd be great.
Tom, we all know what you thought the best game of the actual show it was, and it's the same one that I loved, and it was Felt That Boxing, right?
Oh yeah, that looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, not
Just-
even joking.
Yeah,
that looked
like-
amazing.
It looked awesome. Yeah,
like,
it did.
For anyone that doesn't know, like going back to the camera guy, right? We was literally sat right behind the camera guy who was doing all of the filming. He just turned around before that announcement. And he was like, "This is my favorite game," or whatever he said. Like, "This is my favorite one," or whatever he said. And
Yeah.
that was a nice surprise, and I'm looking forward to seeing more on that game. But yeah, I just really enjoyed the event in general. It was great to meet everyone. It was great to meet you guys in person. I think it's important, right, for team building. You got to see my purple balaclava. And
So I'm not going to show it on camera, but I just want to let you know, Tom, I did happen to somehow bring home the shirt and washed it today.
nice.
Oh,
So,
man.
and you know which exact they know which shirt I'm wearing.
Yeah.
One day maybe I'll take a picture, maybe years from now, and show everybody. I think I'd get demonetized maybe if I threw it up on screen.
Oh man,
Yeah,
but yeah, it was
probably.
it was a good event. Like the banter that we all had, and the team building was obviously a lot of fun and just good in general, right? But also just meeting people,
Yeah, man.
from the industry. I think our goal
100%.
now is now that we're in this position of success, so to speak, right? I mean, like, doing this is very hard and very difficult, but I think our goal now at Insider Gaming is to start to also bring people up with us and offer advice and support as much as we can. So I'm really looking forward to what we've got in the pipeline and going into Gamescom and so on and so forth. It's good times ahead.
What I realized, and like I kind of had that feeling, but it really hit me, is the amount of people I actually know in this industry. Like, walking around, and just, it seemed everywhere I go, I was just being caught up in conversation with like 2 or 3 people at a time. And then apparently I'm the social butterfly of the group.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
I learned that one.
bro. It was like every 10 minutes, Mike was like talking to us. I was like, hey, who's he talking to now?
Where's Mike?
Rebecca
Where's
Valentine from IGN walks through. She has a mask on and everything. And I was like, bro, that was Rebecca Valentine. I couldn't even tell. Like, he recognized her. He's chatting it up with her. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, just no big deal. But a lot of them, like, they're people I worked with in the past, or like I'm obviously following for years, or whatever it may be. But yeah, had a couple contentious conversations, but overall it was a fantastic time. The highlight was still Phil Spencer. We're sitting down at the table playing Console Wars.
Yeah.
And Phil Spencer being told how bad my luck was, and flat out going, don't you think you should let him win? As if to have no confidence in me. I know we just met, just shook hands. No confidence in me at all within 5 minutes.
It was hilarious.
Let him win. He needs this.
Oh my gosh.
Immediately won the next 2 games, won like 4 out of 5. I'm done. Like that game, by the way, this is just coming from a fan standpoint at this point, or a player of it. It is so much fun. It is the definition of the perfect, easy to learn, hard to master when it comes to the strategy, especially when your boss decides to tell you he's going to help you double team the lead designer of the game and then turn on you halfway through.
That's the name of the game, baby. Name of the game.
Okay, so back to video games. We were in play days before we get to the Xbox. We had the play days. It was, from everybody we talked to, it was smaller than last year. But there still were some really, really good games.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry to cut you off. Before we get into the games, I just want to give props to Jeff Keighley. I know he does get quite a lot of bad press.
Yeah, man.
For controlling the industry, right? But going back to what Albert said, if he didn't put this on, we wouldn't have had anything in person this year.
Correct.
And even going to the media lounge, right? I think that was probably one of the best media lounges that I've seen at these events. So I do want to give some props to Jeff for putting this event on and just overall helping the industry move forward, right? Because it's tough times out there.
I think a lot of it as well. The was it I Am 8-Bit who had the
I Am 8-Bit
who
also
arranged the Playday stuff. So that was like I tend to say that I like to lean more into these smaller ones. Like there used to be an expo in the UK called WASD, but it went under a couple of years back. But it's very small, very intimate, and I sometimes prefer them over the big ones just because it's easy to get FaceTime. I mean, look at the people.
That's
we met.
true. That's a fair point.
Like Mike was saying, bumping into like Phil Spencer when we were at Playdays. Like I had I had a picture with Jeff Keighley. I met Neil Druckmann, which was like insane fanboy moment. I bumped into the guys from Bethesda. Just the opportunities, because it's so smaller, it's so much easier to meet these people, and you just feel like you get a bit more one-on-one time with the developers and stuff. And like you say, the media lounge was great, and just the whole thing I think was handled really professionally. I think it was fantastic. When you compare that to something like Gamescom, where it's very, very easy to miss a lot, to get overwhelmed, to get really bogged down in the weeds with the hundreds of thousands of people who are milling around, I think sometimes you need something like Playdays. You really do.
Yeah, and 47 did great on the PR side. They were fantastic too. Literally anything I needed, they gave us text message on things, anything I needed. Anything anybody needed. So
super accommodating. I had to change a couple appointments around. No problem. It's like lickety split. I was like,
you had to change that one appointment for us to go to Money in the Bank only for Ticketmaster,
which didn't happen.
Our tickets.
We were out there, Uber on the way. Unbelievable, man.
Good thing we checked the damn tickets when we got to the door, right?
Oh my god, could you imagine? Yeah, we're in front of the.
I will make up for it, guys. I promise. At some point in the future,
we could have seen the return of R-Truth in person.
Dude, seeing his face when he lifted the hood, man, like
that was awesome,
the emotion
dude.
on his face,
and the place went batshit. Okay, games now.
Erupted.
So I'm gonna just, what? To be fair though, we didn't have to use that stupid Intuit Clippers app, which we want to track your movement, we want to track your exercise. What? That might have been the even it's going off on it.
The unskippable intro video. And everything.
This is the worst designed app I've ever seen. And I'm so happy I don't have to use it.
Trash.
They didn't get anything from me. Okay, games
Xbox Showcase.
time. Well, real quick, Playdays.
Oh, Playdays. Sorry,
Skipping
ahead.
We all saw a number of games. What did you find to be your? I mean, you already said Dying Light, but what? Was that the only game that stood out to you, Grant, or were there more that you kind of really are looking forward to?
There were a bunch. I think one that I went away really excited to see what happens is one that you might not necessarily be like you won't have your hair blown back by it, 'cause it's quite a small thing. It's a team of 100 people called Neki from Cyprus, and they are putting together this game called Spine, which is like a gun fu game. So think like John Wick, think like Shadowhold. John Woo, Stranglehold,
Yeah.
in like a cyberpunk world, and it's really cool. It's a third person, really fluid, really like high octane shooter, and it's fantastic. The combat is designed to kind of mirror like the Arkham series, so really familiar and easy to get to grips with it. But at the same time, it's like really explosive and energetic. So like the takedowns that you do, it's just you're just flying around with these like handguns, and then like the camera is really dynamic, and you might enter a room and it changes perspective, and it's like a whole different kind of game, and it's really cool. It's only going to be about 10 or 15 hours long when it comes out, but like I was really excited. I played it for like 15-20 minutes. I was talking to the devs about it, and it just looks really cool. It's really punchy, and it's like one of those games that you're gonna have no problems finishing it and catching all the achievements and stuff, which is really cool. So I gravitate towards shorter games, I think, these days. But yeah, that and Dying Like the Beast, they were standouts for me from Play Days.
What about you, AP?
Yeah, for me, obviously I mentioned Resident Evil Requiem was phenomenal, but I also got a chance to check out from indie developer Glowmade was King of Meat. King of Meat was a lot of fun. Got a chance to check that out. I hadn't heard anything about this game, and I was at the time, I don't think I had any appointments on my schedule, so I was like, yeah, I'll check this game out. What the hell, I don't really know too much about it, but after playing it and checking it out and everything, I was really impressed with it. Really fun party game. I think it's going to be something for a lot of folks that are going to be able to enjoy once it drops, and they were really nice and accommodating there as well. While I was checking it out and everything, but it was really cool. Definitely one I would say to keep your eye on if you like couch co-op party games, for sure. That would be one to keep an eye on.
Speaking of couch
we need to dip on that very, very quickly because I watched AP play Wu Chang Fallen Feathers.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And it was brilliant because he was getting to grips with it, learning the controls and the movesets and stuff.
That
and
game.
Was a bit where it was early on. He was like 5 minutes deep, but he got further than he'd got by that point, and he like dodged and over dodged and just threw himself clean off a cliff, and it was fantastic. You went back, and then obviously because it's a Souls-like, all of the enemies respawns. He had to
the look on my face, man, is just blank. I just like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
You talked about couch co-op, and man, for me, there's like so many. I'm big into brawlers and beat 'em ups. So this weekend at the Mix at Play Days, like got to play Toxic Crusaders. Jay and Silent Bob has a 2D beat 'em up coming.
Yeah, that looked awesome, man. Watched you play that at the Mix.
Marvel Cosmic Invasion. That I'm under embargo for what I played until the 18th. So that preview will be coming out then. My game of the I played the new Ninja Gaiden. The 2D, not Ninja Gaiden 4, but Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. And then I played Absalom, which is from the developers of Streets of Rage 4. All these 2D, like this, if you're a 2D brawler, like beat 'em up type of fan, you're going to be you're entering a golden era. The game of the show for me is still Lego Party.
Oh, man.
My God. I already love the Mario Party games. Lego Party puts... Even in only 30 minutes of playing, Lego Party puts the last few Mario Party games behind. It has that much potential. I'm working on the preview and everything, and that should be up tomorrow on Insider Gaming. But just the mini games are fun. It's a very beautiful looking game. The aesthetics of Lego is always nice, and I'll have a lot more to say. Like I got my notes, my red notebook that I took everything in over the weekend. But just there's like 300 different miniatures. You can customize everything. You can put a unicorn head on a Ninjago body if you wanted to. Like just that little stuff. The mini games are unique. There's a few similarities with a bunch of them, or with a number of them, but they're unique enough to where they're fun. The only thing that wasn't fun is being in first place in my game from turn 1 to turn 6, and then on the last turn, on turn 6, seeing the two developers I was playing with take both of my golden bricks and beat me. They were giving out these little trophies, these little Lego trophies, and I got one out of sympathy.
Oh.
And then the same damn night, is when the Phil Spencer comment about just letting him win. So that I was like just getting just
maybe it was
really?
just a rumor.
theme.
Yeah, it was a rumor going around that you just bad at games.
My wife has come in and watched me play games before and goes, "Why does anybody play with you?" I don't know. She watched me like screw up in Rocket League the one day. She's like, "Why do they play with you?" I'm like, "Because I got no one else. That is the only reason. They needed a third man. Like that's it. Like
Yeah.
1v1 me on Rust. No, but yeah, like Lego Party, fantastic. I couldn't get in to see Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which I was really upset about. But that seemed to be the most popular game at the event. Like it was full. You were put on a wait list.
Wow. Was that all Sega brought? I can't remember.
No, they brought Shinobi and Demon Slayer as well.
Oh, okay.
And they were showing it all at once. Like you signed up, you got it all. But it's everybody and anybody wanted to just see Lego Cross Worlds and what that was about.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You mean Sonic
Cross
Sonic,
not Lego Cross Worlds.
Lego
Right.
on the brain.
Lego is on the brain. Also, you know what else is on the brain? Nintendo Switch 2. Real quick before we move on. So that was the news story. 3.5 million in 4 days. Best-selling console ever, or fastest-selling, I should say. I bought a Nintendo Switch 2 after that. Here we go. How long have I been ripping on this shit?
Yes.
How long have I been saying, don't do it?
Your
Don't
credibility
do it,
on that just
don't
went
do it,
down in the
don't do
crapper,
it.
man. Yeah, man.
What? An hour and a half before I leave for my flight, Tom, myself, and John from Xbox Era walk to Target so they can get their melatonin for the flight and all that stuff. Decide to take a little stroll over to the electronics. There's nothing in the front. So they got the display where Mario's pole dancing, up in the thing.
Yeah.
I walk around and I'm like, there's 2 switches. And one, John calls me a liar, which thanks for that. But there were 2. And John gets one because, conversion rate, it saves him like $200 almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go, I don't want one to be left by itself mentally. And then I convince myself to buy it. I try to buy it. My credit card declines because they thought it was a fraud alert. So that was fun.
Obviously,
then,
on the other side
they
of the
were
country.
right, though. You are a fraud. They were right with your opinions these past few weeks.
Anyway, let me finish. So I bought it with the bundle with my bank card, thinking, all right, this is what happens when I miss my kids a lot, because I brought it home for them. I had to play Tetris to get it in. By the way, shout out to LAX for taking my bags and searching through them, forcing me to play Tetris for another hour after I go through TSA. And they wouldn't tell me why they were looking through my bags. They just picked both of my bags and started digging through them. Thank
God
guys.
for pre-check.
And then when I asked them, they wouldn't give me an answer. They just looked at me and went back to it. And then they just slid my bags down the line and said, "Here you go. Take them off and go take care." Like, thanks. Love you guys. Jackasses.
Man.
So I bought it. Immediately, my wife sends a message when I said to her. She said, "Who left you unsupervised in a Target?" No one did. I gave in to the pressure of seeing someone else buy it.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny too, Mike, because I remember the first day we were there, we went to that Target and we would just walk back to Gander to see if they had any, and there weren't any there. And it turns out the last day they have it. Yeah,
they had 2 on the shelf, and then the guy behind me was trying to guilt into letting him buy one of them, and I was so tempted to buy it, turn around and say $1,000. But I didn't. I fit it in. But yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, ignore me, I guess. Like Tom said, I've bashed on this thing for months about the price, about everything. Only one game. I still stand by it. But the joy of when my son realized the surprise and then he got to play Mario Kart 2 after school yesterday, I'm like, it's worth the money. So worth the money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Xbox time. They announced absolutely nothing. No big news was revealed. No games. No hardware for sure.
All right. Next segment.
Yeah, I think what are you guys playing? We guys do it. No. Xbox, I think the biggest thing that came out, the 2 biggest things that came out of the Xbox Game Showcase, Black Ops 7.
Yep.
New number, same game. and the Xbox, the Asus Xbox Ally X and Asus Xbox Ally no letter handheld consoles were finally revealed after months of rumors, and based on everybody who got hands-on with it and got to see it in person, it's shaping up like this is going to be a good like a massive boon for this company.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked good. I'm trying to think some of the features. I want to say it. Did it mention you could play Steam games on it? I can't remember for sure. I
You'll
forgot.
be able to play. It
anything.
seems like you'll be able to play anything. Like there were people already saying they were running their PlayStation Plus.
Oh my!
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's takes on. Well, they modeled it heavily on. Obviously, modeled very heavily on the existing ROG Ally X, but they've changed the shell. They've incorporated all the Xbox features like haptic triggers and things like that. The UI, they've done away with the Windows stuff, so it runs on Windows 11. But the UI has been completely cleaned up to incorporate like so much more of a gaming feel. So like the layout and everything on it is more conducive, just like scrolling through your library and stuff. Because now the ROG Ally X this thing is bloody awful when you're trying to poke around Windows 11 and you're trying to, because it's not a big screen, you're trying to hit like the taskbar and stuff, and it's not good at all. So they've obviously tweaked all that out as well. But the Ally X, the Xbox version, the Asus ROG Ally Xbox X something, Mike, I don't know what it is. They've
it's
that's
the
not
Xbox
good.
Ally and Xbox Ally.
That's not good if you can't, get a naming convention with the thing. Like,
I can't remember who said it, but someone was like, "You missed the chance to call it the Xbox Ally S and Xbox Ally X."
Yeah, they could have done. Yeah, exactly. But it's got like this new AMD, the Z2 Extreme processor. It's got 24 gig VRAM or RAM. I'm not the tech guy. This is
VRAM.
This is your area. But it looks really good. And like you say, Mike, everyone that has got hands on with it said it played fantastically, felt nice, very tactile. The pricing hasn't been revealed, and that could be the killer for it. But they have been considering that. So like it come out recently, like why they weren't doing an OLED screen on it when so many are starting to at least consider that. And they said that, I think it was something to do with them not wanting to drop VRR. And then they're also saying that they don't want the price to be as high as it would be if it was an OLED screen. So, there's some compromises there. So I think it's going to be, I mean, what was it now? It's like $800 for the Ally X. So I think we were talking about maybe they subsidize it and make it a little bit cheaper.
I still think we're looking for the Xbox Ally X. I still think we're looking at $1,000 for it.
Yeah, maybe
until they prove me otherwise.
My hope is that they're going to like subsidize the price a little bit because it is a partnership with Xbox, and maybe like Xbox take the hit on that side. Because I think it needs to be like 800.
It's got to be accessible. Way more.
If they put it up to 1,000, that's the big thing. It's got to be price comparable. But other than the Xbox, Tom, I'll start with you. What did you think of their showcase in general?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I think the biggest surprise for everyone, including myself, was Black Ops 7 because that came out of nowhere. But for the most part, we pretty much knew the entire showcase. We had all of our pre-writes written. Grounded 2 was a notable highlight for me. It's just one of those nice little friendly games to always play. And Clockwork Revolution got a pretty big showing as well, which was nice to see.
Mad trailer was like 17 minutes long.
Yeah, it was crazy,
super long.
Yeah. But I think that Xbox are now in this very interesting position where I think for the past 2 years they have been doing extremely well in terms of their showing, in terms of their games, and especially with this. I mean, it was the same for last year, right? But with this showcase, there was something for everyone. So no matter like what genre you like, what kind of game you like, I think you could have watched this and walked away with at least something. And it's just unfortunate. I feel like at the moment that PlayStation is slipping the ball because we've not seen anything like this from PlayStation for quite a while now.
There was one question in there. Anything on a PlayStation showcase or first party state of play in September or Wolverine, and it's just like we don't know. Like Sony, I don't know what Sony's doing.
They just tell you like the day before. They're like, "Hey, it's here. Go watch it.
State of play tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow." Like,
there's no hype or excitement behind anything they're doing right now.
The issue with PlayStation, right, is that at the end of the day, their strategy was to go into live service. They had 12 games in the pipeline with these showcases, so on and so forth. There is a massive future pipeline. Like, they know when they're going to do the next showcase 2 years from now, probably, right? Eight or nine of those games have now fell through. Marathon isn't looking good. That was probably going to be a highlight of a showcase if there was going to do it. We had the Insomniac leak, which completely ruined Wolverine in terms of everything from team morale to completely redoing the game, right? I remember when that happened, 3 months later, they was doing like play test feedback sessions, so on and so forth. And there was like, do not look at the leaks and take anything from that. You've got to look at the new stuff. Like, it just pushed them back so much. And it was so damaging that I think if that didn't happen, we probably would have had a showcase by now. But at this moment in time, I just don't think that they're in a reasonable position to do one. Maybe that's wrong and they do one in the next month or so. But I would imagine if they are going to do one, it's going to be towards the latter half of the year. And then they'll be ready to show off things like Wolverine and probably tease the Venom game and whatever else these teams are now working on after all of their live services have been cancelled. But it's really rough.
I don't want to sit here and harp on Sony because they did absolutely nothing worthy of our time to talk about. But yeah, the live service thing, and it bombed. It blew up in their face so bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure like what the pipeline of games was, but for example, if they intended 4 of these games each year, you've now lost 75% of your pipeline. So that obviously has a massive detrimental effects to your marketing, your showcases, whatever it may be. So I think they're probably just kind of cooking, I guess, in the background, or scrambling, I guess is the right word. They're probably just scrambling to trying to put something decent together, because I do think that Xbox do get quite a lot of unnecessary hate for one reason or another, right? Like, I don't know why. Like, I guess it's going back to the whole console warrior stuff, which is ironic considering the game that we was playing, the card game that we was playing. But yeah, it's just a shame, man. I do think that Xbox these past 2 years have had something for everyone, and I would argue that the Xbox game showcase was the better of the 2 major ones that we saw this year.
Oh, without a doubt. And no one's talking about the best game from the Xbox game showcase that was announced. Super Meat Boy 3D. Number 1 game announced.
That looked great. It looked great.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, there were other couple big games. You know, they showed Ninja Gaiden 4. They Grounded 2.
What about
Indiana Jones? You know,
what wasn't there though? You know, there was plenty that we expected to show up. Like, we were talking about State of Decay 3. State of Decay 3, I feel, is long overdue. It's a year since they showed the last trailer. You know, Starfield DLC. I was raving about Starfield DLC. I was so sure. In fact, when they started playing the trailer for Black Ops 7, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, this looks like space. Is it Starfield?
Yeah, we were all shocked. Yeah,
we were. It's been a year since they gave the date for Shattered Space, which we knew about before they were even launching the game. Todd Howard came out and said 1 major expansion every year, and we're halfway through the year now. Are we over? Maybe over halfway through the year? I don't know.
We're in the 6th month, and so we're about halfway.
And nothing, absolutely nothing, not even a whisper of what they're doing next for it. As far as I'm aware, someone may have heard something that I have completely missed, but I feel like Starfield's just completely dead and buried now. You thought that with the success of Oblivion, there might be like even a whisper of something to do with Elder Scrolls 6, but definitely not. And then with the success of the remake, everyone thought, well, remake, remaster, whatever. Everyone was thinking, oh, what are they doing with Fallout 3 remastered? Nothing, not even a, you know, they were pipe dreams more or less, but I still thought there would be something there. You know, the big surprise for me was no State of Decay 3. I think that has been slept on royally.
And then there were games. Like, did anybody ask for High on Life 2?
No one.
I loved High on Life.
Me too, but I didn't think it was a game that needed a sequel.
Yeah. That kind of shocked me.
but like the Final Fantasy 16 finally coming to Xbox. But yeah, like Sea of Thieves, we got our thing. The Chronos New Dawn, a new Plague Tale game. We got a new game from Double Fine where you're a sentient lighthouse. That sounds just perfect to me because Double Fine is a studio I really like. But yeah, you talked about what wasn't there, and no Halo,
no Fable.
Yeah. So the Fable thing didn't surprise me because it was only a couple months ago that they had their little interview where they were pushing it to 2026. They had talked about it a bit, so I wasn't too surprised. But yeah, no Silk Song.
Yeah.
And I just want to say for people watching, I spent 20 minutes at Playdays talking with Adam Cole, the AEW wrestler, and we just lambasted the fact that there's still no Silk Song. We got a little tease of it during the showcase saying, hey, it'll be playable on the ROG Ally X or the Xbox Ally later this year, but that's all we got. So they're still saying it's coming this year. I still don't believe it. But no Forza, which they did say, like Spencer did say, like next year we will get the next Forza game to celebrate 25 years of Xbox. There'll be an update to a classic franchise, which all signs point to like a remaster of Combat Evolved. And then there was one more, and I'm completely blanking on it. What was the Gears of War E-Day will release sometime in 2026 as well. So we got like those confirmations from Phil.
Yeah, I think
no Contraband, no OD. Like people like there's so much that wasn't there. Xbox could have had a whole nother showcase.
Well, I think that might be the case, right? Or we're gonna get big updates on some of these games at Gamescom, like for example, Starfield DLC. I think that's probably a Gamescom thing. Maybe. And then we can't forget the developer directs that they tend to do in January at the beginning of the year, which is probably like a Gears E-Day. It's probably going to be a few of these bigger games, maybe not Halo, but Forza, for example, like an announcement of that could come later this year with a follow-up. Developer direct. So yeah, like I said, man, I think Xbox is cooking with gas, and these events and how kind of like sporadic they are at the moment makes it difficult to predict when they're going to be announced or revealed or updates or whatever. But yeah, I mean, August and Gamescom is our next big thing, and from what I've heard, they're going to have a fairly big presence there, so we'll just have to see how all of that pans out.
Yeah, I think we know. I mean, the next big Call of Duty thing will come during Gamescom. Kind of makes sense. My guess is they'll announce a beta around then too, kind of like what they did this past year. Because I think the end of August is when we had the beta for Black Ops 6. So yeah, my guess like that'll be a big thing. Fuzzy Muffin kind of makes a good point. OD didn't stand a chance with DS2 coming. Yeah, I get it. I don't think Kojima would want two games when Death Stranding 2 is literally at this point 2 weeks away from launching.
Still the spotlight.
But man, we are like Xbox. I can't shout the praises of Xbox in general for what they're doing enough, which goes really hard against the narrative that we are Xbox haters. Which I don't know where that came from.
Who's saying that, man?
Oh, go online, you see it.
Yeah.
You point me to it.
It's there.
You point. But like, Xbox, they're just doing it so well. Like, it bothers me in a way. I still wish, and this is just me, like, back in my day, yearning for the good old days when console exclusives still mattered. I do wonder what this would be like if Xbox was cooking the way they're cooking, knowing these are all exclusive to that system. Like, I just wonder how it would be if this was, say, 10 years ago when they were doing, and they were like, they were just on a run like this.
Yeah, it would have been cool. Like, I understand the new strategy, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, you bought Bethesda not a few years ago. You bought Activision Blizzard last year. They could have really dominated the industry when it comes to next gen, right? If next gen is 2028 and all of these was Xbox exclusives, it would have changed the strategy entirely. But I guess because they had such a bad run, so to speak, at the beginning of the first half, they've switched it up, right? But either way, like at the end of the day, the only people that benefit is us, is the gamers. So no issues from me though.
And then you got Nintendo showing that exclusives matter. Though there was a comment someone brought up. I want to find it. Fuzzy Muffin about the Switch 2 sales. Is it just from availability? Because Switch 1 only released regionally. It's a mix of availability. There are a lot more Switch 2 consoles available at launch than there were Switch 1, which helps. Just in general, price aside, they produced far more Switch 2 consoles than they did Switch 1s, because with Switch 1, they were coming off the Wii U. The Nintendo name was kind of so they didn't really know. They knew the Switch 2 was going to sell, and the Switch 2 is selling like fire.
Yeah.
Man.
They looked at as well, like obviously the PS5 and Xbox Series S and X and all of the problems that they had with availability, and they just decided let's full send it and get as many units done as possible. But I think the reports are that it's 3.5 million sold to customers, whereas the previous data on the Nintendo Switch 1 is, I think it's like 2.74 million, which was sold to retailers. So that just proves how well
sold.
Yeah. So that just proves how well the Switch 2 is doing, and proves how much your brand sticks with you, right? Like, I mean, let's look at facts. Like the Switch 2 is launched with one exclusive game, yet it's done phenomenal. And I imagine for the most part that is because it's simply a Nintendo Switch rather than whatever else probably floated around in the boardrooms of names.
Yeah, and then and we know, like, someone I saw social media discourse, can they keep up this momentum? They're gonna keep it up because of the way Nintendo, I think, has decided to stagger their big releases. When Donkey Kong launches next month, it's going to push a lot of units. When the next 3D Zelda launches, it's going to push millions of units.
Yeah.
When Mario, first 3D Mario in nearly a decade releases, it's going to sell millions. Like, Nintendo had a goal for 20 million in its first year. It's hard for me to see them not blowing past it.
Yep, and Pokemon as well. You can't leave that out.
Yeah, you got Pokemon ZA this year, and then next year it's likely the next generation Pokemon game. So that alone, there you go. There's another one. Yeah, and then Valdez for Sega. Like, Sega has so much in the works with Shinobi right now and Sonic Crossroads, and then Jet Set Radio, new Jet Set, new Crazy Taxi, new Streets, Golden Axe, Echo. Like, I think by the end of the year we'll hear the next on at least one of these games.
Yeah, they're cooking with gas as well. There's a few more remakes that I know about as well that I'm not ready to report on just yet, but they are cooking with gas. I'm sorry to tease.
I'm in my head. I'm like, all right, what classic Sega franchise? What?
Reddit.
What classic?
It's easy,
Sega
man.
franchise?
Easy. Reporting it myself.
I know a lot of people want Phantasy Star, but I'm sitting there going, and they might revisit it, but I never liked Phantasy Star.
Talking of remakes and Molly's question, which I don't know if anyone picked up in the chat, an update about another Silent Hill. So the Konami press start showcase today, right at the end, they revealed the Silent Hill remake is being done by Bloober, who did the Silent Hill 2 remake. So it should be good things there, I imagine.
We have a lot. A Sonic Adventure remake would be fantastic. Blazing Flame put in there. Sonic Adventure remake. Give me the first two games. I mean, we got that Sonic Generations and Shadows, like that remake, but a true Sonic Adventure remake would be. Then you got talking about, hey Tom, where's Splinter Cell remake?
Ubisoft. I mean, like, all I can say about Ubisoft is it is a shit show behind the scenes. And I think that they just need to, especially the developers, right? Like, they just need to just give them time to cook. The delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows has shown that if they delay the games and do it right, that it will sell. And I think the perception of Ubisoft has started to change a little bit in that regard. And now they just need to do it with the other IPs. that's all they have to do, right? Like,
they got to get through this lawsuit going on first, and then
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I would like Ubisoft just to sit on everything for another year, and then next E3 to Summer Games Fest time, whatever we want to call it, then do like a big announcement. Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, Assassin's Creed Hexa, whatever. What else have they got? Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like, show us that goddamn thing, please.
I don't want to ever see it.
I'm going to be honest. I've seen some of it, and it actually looks. I'm not going to say pretty good. It looks okay.
It's just one of those games of like, that was not a game that needed this. Beyond Good and Evil wasn't a good enough game to warrant being kept alive this long.
Yeah. I think that, it's just that they've put too much money in it now, right? Like where it needs. Something.
Yeah, we do have Rayman. Like that, we know. I mean, we know it's coming. Ubisoft has things coming. It's just the belief in Ubisoft is so bad, it's hard to trust them not screwing half of it up. And until it's that case of you got to prove us wrong before it gets to it. Kind of like Xbox. We had that doubt with Xbox, but they've kind of started to turn things and prove people wrong.
Yeah.
Let's just let them cook, see what they come up with.
Yeah, they just need to take the. I mean, they're not susceptible to taking financial hits because they seem to be doing that a lot lately
on the regular.
But I think they just need to do it for the next 12 months. Have a fantastic showcase with, I don't know, like just shadow drop Splinter Cell. Can you imagine that? Just shadow dropping.
That would be incredible, Tom.
That'd be insane.
Oh,
but
you heard it here first.
No.
Reports. Opening night live. Splinter Cell remake. I'm not. Don't want no one. If I see anybody do that,
no.
But that would be opening night live because they are going to be there. They're going to be at Gamescom. They're not doing any showcases, they said this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be involved in other studios like shows or like one-off things. So I'm really hoping opening night live we get something big from them, and it's not just here's the DLC announcement for Shadows.
It's probably going to be Shadows. Also, I think that I mean they're working on the multiplayer Assassin's Creed, right? The Invictus, and then I've also got Obsidian, which is the Black Flag remake. But the timeline of the Assassin's Creed pipeline is a bit weird at the moment, just because of everything going on. But then I anticipate we'll probably get an announcement of like an Avatar director's cut, something like that, to coincide with the release of is it the third movie that's this year? I'm not too big on Avatar.
I think whenever it comes, it will be the third one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what we'll probably get.
All right, we have to start wrapping up here because we had to start late, so it's late for our UK brethren. What was the biggest, I'll start with you, Tom, the biggest takeaway you took from this weekend, whether it be the games, just being in LA through the events, anything that we experienced, happened, saw, talked about? What would you do?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because going into this event, you always think about, especially as a business owner, right? You go into these events thinking, is there enough games there to cover? Will we make our money back? So on and so forth. But walking away from Summer Games Fest, I really enjoyed the connection with the people. Not just talking about you guys. I mean, you're all right. Like, you're not, you're okay. But just
11 hours next to you on a damn plane, man. Yeah. You're not that insufferable. You're all right.
But just connecting with the industry and talking and helping to push people forward. From the people in media to content creators to podcasters, and just that community spirit of being able to lift everyone up was definitely the highlight for me. It was the people, not the games.
What about you, AP?
Yeah, I touched on it a little bit before, and it, Tom stole my thunder a little bit, but again, it's the camaraderie, amongst everybody in the industry. I had people just, just kind of come up to me like, "Hey man, what's going on? I haven't seen you in so long. I haven't seen them in, I think my last event in person was like back in 2019, so it was just good seeing people that I hadn't seen in so long that they remembered me and everything. And, everyone's nice, Greg Miller walking by, tap him on the shoulder. Hey, Greg, what's going on? Hey, what's up, man? Everyone's super nice, from what I can see in the industry. It's
Almost
really
everyone.
Great. Oh yeah, almost everyone. Wink, wink. I know where you're going with that, but I won't go there. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's good to have good camaraderie amongst your colleagues in this industry for sure. Yeah.
Grant.
Yeah, man. I mean, takeaways for me from this weekend. In-N-Out Burger is all it's cracked up to be.
The burgers, not the
Yeah,
fries.
man.
Don't go.
The fries are
don't
kind
go
of
to
mid
the-
though. Yeah.
Don't go up to the Griffith Observatory at like 6 a.m. because there is so much mist you can't even see past the side of the cliff. And like Tom said, like echoing it, like you should never in this business underestimate the sheer power of like networking and just talking to people, right?
Yeah.
I've always been a speak when spoken to kind of person, and it hasn't done me very well. And I think coming out of my shell a bit more, going to these events, like you genuinely, my dad always used to say, if you don't ask, you won't get. So going up to people and just saying, hi, are you who I think you are? We chat for 5 minutes, you learn things or whatever, but it's not just about coming away with a story. It's about coming away with a connection. Like I'll reiterate that I met Neil Druckmann at this thing, and I have absolutely adored that guy's games for the last 12 years, 13 years, and not having opportunities like that wouldn't happen if you weren't putting yourself out there, going to these events and just seeing who you can connect with. So yeah, like Tom said, it's definitely the people that make these things so much more worthwhile than just playing some games. Absolutely.
Yeah, the games are fun, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to not realize just like, building the relationships, making friendships, people that now you can reach out to with questions, because it's one thing, like at least for us being a newer outlet, people could hear our voices, see our faces, except for Tom's. And
it was really weird being in the Marriott with a balaclava on, just walking up to Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
LAPD gave you some funny looks, man.
No, remember, he came over to us. He came over to where we were sitting. Had nothing to do with either of us, but we're gonna pretend it did. But just the amount of people that like saw us and realized, no, we're serious about what we're doing here. For such a young outlet. Like there were a lot of people we talked to that actually, I'm not one for taking compliments. And there were a number of people that we spoke to, whether it be at play days or at JW late at night after, the two on the bottom of the screen were long and in bed. Who read Insider Gaming, subscribe to the Insider Gaming newsletter, which you guys should do. Insider-gaming.com/subscribe. Over 60,000 people strong. But who literally have couldn't compliment the work we were actually doing enough. There are people who don't like what we do for whatever reason, but that's a given. You're not going to please everybody. But I was surprised the number of people who actively read our site, read the newsletter, and just follow the work. And again, it's so hard for me to take those compliments, but I had to go back to the hotel at night and just be like, no, you're doing something right. If people, as soon as you mention the outlet, know who you are, you're doing something right. So that was cool to see. And it just, it brings more motivation to do more.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I feel like speaking for myself, right? Like we got into this industry pretty unorthodox in terms of an outlet and our coverage on certain topics with the leaks and all of that kind of that kind of thing. But it's been important to show people not just Summer Games Fest, but GDC, DICE, going into Gamescom, that at the end of the day we are people, and the conversations we have with people shows them that we are not this big bad wolf of the industry, right? Like we are trying to lift people up as well as we go, and in the coming months I hope that people see that with some of the stuff we've got working on behind the scenes. But yeah, overall, man, we're doing good, and it was a cool event. Very cool.
No
And
doubt.
with that, it's time to sign off. Make sure you are subscribed here on YouTube. Follow us, like the video, rate us on all your streaming platforms. You can follow Insider Gaming at Insider Gaming IG on Twitter, at insider-gaming.com on Blue Sky. Our social media handles are on the screen. Mike Straw Media at Newkov_ for Grant, at Weekly Wrap Up for A to the P Albert Perkins. For Tom, he doesn't have it, but it's at Tom Henderson. I think there's a couple underscores in there. Look for the red snowmobile. With that said, we will see you next week. It's time for AP for the first time in a couple weeks. Pyro, no Battlefield news yet, but stick with InsiderGaming.com for when news breaks. AP,
Stay tuned.
take it away.
Stay tuned. For Mike, Tom, and Grant, I am, of course, your host with the most A to the P, Albert Perkins, and we will see you all on the inside.
Cameo. My toddler opened the door, and that's the cameo. That's how the show ends there.
I love it.
Yeah. Not my toddler, my infant.
Amazing.
Got to make that a sound effect.